If you're in any of these areas, industries, aerospace and defense, construction and engineering, information technology, cybersecurity, healthcare and biotech, manufacturing and industrial services, environmental energy, logistics, transportation, professional services, telecommunication, or security and defense technology, then you need to be at our conference. Today, what we're talking about is our annual GCG Summit, Federal Content Connections, taking place November 14th and 15th at the illustrious Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida. And so what I want to go over today in this video is about the content themes, what you can expect from the conference, why you should attend, and then at the very end, we'll close out with some Q&A. So let's go over the agenda really quickly and talk about what you can expect when you attend the conference in any of those industries. But before we do that, let's jump into some of the content themes. So this year, what's different about the conference than last year is we actually have what's called content themes. So it's essentially what you can expect to go through in terms of the tracks and learn depending upon where you're at on your journey. So some of the content themes that we'll be discussing is small business, cybersecurity, mergers and acquisitions, supply chain, access to capital, compliance, defense technologies, workforce development, artificial intelligence, energy and environmental, digital transformation, tribal business, and public-private partnerships. So what does that look like? So a lot of times people ask me, Eric, what conferences should I be attending? What conferences should I be looking forward to going to? And my first answer to that is always finding out, does the government buy what you sell, right? And once you know who buys what you sell, are they going to be in attendance at that particular event, right? Meaning, can you get closer to some of the decision makers? And so here, what we're discussing is, okay, if I'm in the aerospace and defense industry, Eric, why would it make sense for me to attend your annual summit? And so again, we have agencies and prime contractors that are involved in defense and space exploration. People like NASA. If you're in construction engineering, we've got people like the Army Corps of Engineers talking about infrastructure projects and development contracts. If you're in the IT space, we have agencies like Department of Homeland Security coming. We have Department of Energy. And so we also even have a special guest, and we'll talk about that later on, that is a former chief technology officer of a global 100 company, and he'll be giving a keynote speech. If you're in the healthcare and biotech space, we have organizations like the National Institutes of Health, HHS, and other health-related industries coming. In addition to that, we have one of our panelists who actually has been working and supporting HHS for more than 2 decades. And so she'll be there as well. You get a chance to meet her. If you are in manufacturing and industrial services space, again, we have organizations that will be there that are looking for manufacturer suppliers. It's particularly those who work in environment, energy, and defense sector. So for example, we've got some of our large prime contractors who've already are talking about supply chain issues and how we can fix that. So if that's something that you're into, this would be of interest to you. Environmental and energy services. So again, you want to meet people like the Department of Energy. They were there last year. They actually sponsored a conference there. They'll be back this year as well, focusing on things like sustainability and environmental technologies. And then again, in the logistics space, everything. I mean, one of our biggest themes is supply chain. And what does that look like? Transportation infrastructure. So again, a lot of times what we're doing is I want people to know who should be coming and why they should be coming. And also I want you to know like why this matters and what's important about it. So I decided to come on today and share with everyone about that. And then also, like I said, to go and answer some questions. So for me, yes, I'm always putting in the work. I'm always grinding. And I mean, you can't imagine how difficult it is for us to actually get all these people, convince them to come out here and be with us. But we've been able to successfully do that. And like I said, I want to go over the agenda today in case people are on the fence about whether they should come or they should not be here. So I did pull out the agenda, and I want to talk about the agenda really quickly. Now, like most events, the agenda could change. But right now, this is what we're looking at here. So on Wednesday night, we're having our VIP reception. And with the VIP reception will be all of the people that come in, the agencies, our speakers, our sponsors will all be there. And so it'll be a great time for you to get to connect with them before the actual event happens. And so a lot of times it's in those sessions where you get to really make that relationship, because on conference day, right, that's when like everybody's on top of everyone else. And so it's not as an intimate setting. And then on the 14th, Teresa Moon, she's going to open up. She's from WIP, Women Impacting Public Policy. I got a little tongue twister there. She's going to open up as our MC. Lori Sales of Civility Management Solutions going to do the invocation. I'm going to give the welcome remarks. We're still deciding on who's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. But then the State of Small Businesses is going to be given by none other than Jackie Robinson. And so for all of you who do not know Jackie Robinson is appointed in this last administration to oversee all of the SBA small business contracting. I think her official title, we'll pull it up on the screen so I don't mess it up. So someone has to go back and say here, but it is the Office of Government Contract and Business Development, Small Business Administration. And so if you know anything about Jackie, she's the one working on all the new certifications and streamlining that process for you. So she's going to be out there giving the actual state of small business and letting us know about what that looks like. And so what they're doing now with the SBA is they are combining all of the certifications so that you now, before when I used to be in these different programs, you would have to apply for HubZone and apply for Women Owned, then apply for 8A. And so my understanding that what they're doing now is if you can apply for multiple certifications that you qualify for in one portal. And so that's a new change that's happening. And that should be beneficial for all of you who are not currently certified or registered. This will be something that's beneficial for you. Then Donna Bennett from the Department of State, she's going to come in and discuss cybersecurity, threat monitoring, and detection. Donna Bennett, by the way, she is at the highest level. If you look at her up as CISO, she's actually at the highest level of the Department of State, monitoring all of the activities in terms of cyber hacks and all of those things that are threatening our nation's security. We're then going to lead off with how federal agencies are expanding business participation panel, led by none other than Shannon Jackson, who is the SES over at Health and Human Services, Vana Ortiz, who is the Director of Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Then we're going to talk about how NASA Small Business, Natalie, come up and speak. And then filling out that panel is Caitlin Riggle with DCAA. All right. And then we're going to have none other than my buddy over here, who I've just recently met. Let me pull him up. I want you to see this because I want you guys to know what we're doing here. So I'm gonna pull up his profile. And so for our first keynote after those sessions will be none other than Ben Amaba. And so Ben, let's go down here and scroll up to Ben's profile. Ben, let me zoom in so you can read this, was the former global chief technology officer for IBM. All right. And so Ben's going to be opening up and discussing, right, benefits, risks through skilled workforce and practice solutions. And so what Ben will be discussing is what are the big companies doing? What are they looking at? And also what are some of their needs that we can tackle? So if you've ever thought about working with or supporting some of these major corporations, Ben, as the former global chief technology officer at IBM, he can talk about what that looks like. But specifically, we want to discuss how we work together in terms of our workforce, our small business community, and the large business community. And again, he says skilled workforce, but we're talking about solutions for handling and managing cyber risk and cyber threats. And so that's what his session is going to be on, leading that panel. But Ben is also going to be helping facilitate an entire summit panels of multiple guests. And so we'll talk about what that looks like here. I'll scroll down. So now what's interesting is when we talk about artificial intelligence, we've got Sean Kingsbury. Sean Kingsbury works as the Vice President of Cybersecurity at SAIC. Again, another big company. Those are one of the big boys. Tracy Bannon over at MITRE Group. She's the Senior Principal Software Architect and Researcher. And then we've got Department of Justice, their Chief Information Officer, their CISO as well as Patrice Arnold from the Department of State. So we are, if you're in, like I said before, if you're in the cyberspace, if you're in the tech space, we're bringing CISOs from national organizations, both public and private, to talk to you. Now, if you're in, like you said, we mentioned before, healthcare space. So again, I want to be able to help people. And if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. We'll keep going through this. I just want to get through the agenda really quickly for those people or persons who've not yet seen it because it's not been made public. All right, access to capital. So many small businesses are struggling with access to capital. That's a common theme all the time. Sheila Swindler, actually, it's going to be her, the CEO of the company, Encore Funding. I'm talking about access to capital. He's got a backstory that I will share on another video. Dr. Dominic Forte, again, we are doing a technology summit, so he's leading that track. But he is the professor and faculty fellow at what's called Florida Institute for National Security at the University of Florida. But what's really cool is that he's working on new chip designs that they are working with NVIDIA. And so we'll get into that on another video, right? So, and then my man Travis Mack, right now, he's going to talk about how do you go from small to big and leveraging acquisitions for rapid business growth. And if you don't know Travis Mack, I've had him on the podcast a couple times, and he's actually, last year he did an acquisition for around 75 million. The year before that, he did a 34 million acquisition on one of his companies, Salex. His other company, he's the chairman of one and the CEO of two. They've been doing acquisitions in the $6 to $12 million range. They've probably done about 15 of them. He's going to talk about that at the event. He'll also be at the VIP, the yacht chart, and everything else. Unlocking federal opportunities, how small business could thrive in contracting. I've got an amazing panel with Susan Mitchell, Stacy Martineau, Sherilyn LeBon. Susan is the one who I was mentioning earlier, who's worked with the HHS and NIH for about 24 years. And then she also has the contract to manage the NASA STEM program for $250 million. So I just want to say that about Susan. Stacy Martineau, she has been on my podcast before, but what's cool about Stacy is that she literally, the companies that she works with, they typically start small, and then through working with her organization, Dana Associates, they end up being acquired or they start doing acquisitions themselves. So she's going to talk about that. And then Cheryl LeBon works at partner at Womble, Bond and Dixon. She's going to talk about what that looks like from a legal standpoint. So I want to bring people that I particularly feel would benefit us and our group. And so for me, what I see is that as I progress in my journey of contracting, right, as I progress, one of the things that I believe none of us have been exposed to as disenfranchised businesses is how do we scale? Like, how do we get to the next level, right? So many people want to continue to stay small, but how is it that we actually start to become a large business? And I think that should really be where we're focused at. If you've been following me for a while and you know me, I talk about, right, going big. And I don't say that lightly, because what I believe happens so often is that we are so focusing on, and I had a call today with an organization that literally it was a 30-minute call. They spent 20 minutes telling me about they have every certification. And that's not the way to go from small to large, right? The people that go from small to large don't say, I have every certification. So I want to help understand, and see people who have opportunities that you can take your organization and start to grow it. And I want them to help you reshape your mindset. So for me, the people that I'm inviting, that's why I keep mentioning to them where they're at, is because they have had to reshape their brains and reshape their minds so that they can see, okay, I can go beyond being a small business and being a large business. And so how do we do that? And that's what they're talking about. So that's why we're talking about these items such as mergers and acquisitions, right? How to sell a business, because those are important things that when you're shaping, like, how do I structure my organization? What do I want my organization to look like 5 years from now? These are the things that matter, right? So let me continue going on. And by the way, just feel free to drop your questions in there. All right. So this is an interesting panel here. So perspectives on our nation's most complex defense programs. We are actually looking at the submarine program and what's happening with that particular vehicle. And so Gene Moran, president of Capital Integration, lobbyist, he's bringing on the chairman of the board of Marine Machinery Association, CEO of BSCO, and then director of government affairs for General Dynamics. They're going to talk about the submarine program. So we want to talk about programs that allow you to go in and start to scale and grow. We following on that path? All right. And so I want you to keep that in mind in terms of the theme, right? Is that we want to talk about programs that have long runways, lots of money, and you have the ability to go in there, do a good job, deliver excellence, and grow and scale your organization. And eventually, the goal would be to graduate from small to a large business. That's my goal for you, at least. All right. We're still filling out this section on selling products to government agencies. We're trying to decide who's the other alternative person to Ryan. However, if you've ever seen Ryan attend those sessions, Ryan talks about selling to DLA, but not through the traditional DIBS process, but using what's called TLS. So it's another way to sell DLA, selling products to the government. But what's different about Ryan is that we talk about how is that you even create those opportunities. So it's not go online and bid. It's how do you find out what the government's needs are, find those products, get prices, and then put it on a DLA shopping list so that then the government can buy directly from you through using DLA as the tool, right? All right, CMMC panel, right? So as we know, CMMC is coming up. It's now part of all of our contracts. Mastering the threes of supply chain. So interesting, someone said we're talking about cybersecurity, but no, it's not tech because we're talking about supply chain. And what does that look like? So we've got supply chain issues with everything, right? All supply chain is everything that's coming in or out. And so we're going to talk about what does that look like in terms of handling supply chain, positioning to sell your business. And then we're going to close out Thursday, right, with how artificial intelligence is transforming industry. And so, again, we're pulling in large businesses and heads of government officials, their CISOs, to talk about what that looks like. Because if anyone has read, AI is eating everyone's lunch. So if you don't figure out what are the people doing at the top, then what you can start implementing, it goes way beyond ChatGPT. That was a great session that we had last year. And then now to close out Thursday session. Now Friday, what we're doing differently this year that we didn't do before. By the way, just so you know, and it's not on here, that after that, we're going to have our first summit kickoff reception. So after that first Thursday, we're going to have a kickoff reception that day. And then Friday, we're going to do a half a day where we're going to put together our tribal panel first thing in the morning. And so we're going to talk about how to work with tribes. And again, they're in construction, IT, professional services space. And then we're going to have our subcontracting with large business panel, which again, we still filling that out now. I've got some people who said they're going to be there. We just have not. I haven't put them on this particular sheet yet. But right now, I know that Balfour Beatty, they actually confirmed with us, and Collins Aerospace confirmed with us. And then we're working on Northrop Grumman or MITRE. We got a couple people in the bag, which is, again, because it's the fiscal year ended, we didn't want to put them on there and publicly publicize it yet. All right. And then we're going to do matchmaking, right? And so we're going to do matchmaking, and we're going to allow people to actually spend. That's why we're doing half a day the second day, because what we found out last year was when we actually did the summit for one day, people feel like they didn't get a chance to like network and talk and fellowship. So this year, we're going to do this half day on the 15th. That allows us to get the large panels in with the big boys. And then we'll let you match make with those same people. And then after you match make with them, then you'll have the rest of the day to be able to spend time with them, get to know them better, do other activities. And so then after that is where we get into our yacht mixer from 2 to 6, and then we'll do our grand finale networking soiree from 7 until. And so there you have it. That's an overview of our schedule as it stands. And like I said, if you're just joining us now, if you're in any of these industries, right? If you're in aerospace defense, construction engineering, IT, healthcare and biotech, manufacturing, industrial, environmental, logistics, transportation, then this is where this conference makes sense for you. And again, our themes this year are small business, cybersecurity, merger and acquisition, supply chain, access to capital, AI, energy and environment, digital transformation, tribal business, and public-private partnerships. So that's it. That's an overview of what we're doing. I definitely want to encourage you guys to come out there. So really quickly, let me go over just so I'll show you guys the different ticket prices. So we did do, so you can look at, basically the titanium is the top level. So that includes everything. So it includes the VIP night and the general ticket session. And it also includes the yacht mixer that's happening on the 15th. Or you can buy just a standard VIP, which includes the general ticket plus the networking reception on the night before with all the agencies. And then we have our general admission ticket prices for just the actual 14th and the 15th day. Again, we're still going to have a summit reception on the first night. And then on the last night, we're going to have our soiree with everyone's invited to. So there'll still be matchmaking for you available, and then 2 networking events as well for you to join in, right? And then for government employees, if you are a government employee or we have students, if you're an actual student like at a university or college with a college email address, then we have the student prices. And if you want to buy like the general ticket, general admission ticket, and then yacht separate, you can buy the yacht mixer separate. But you must have at least a minimum of general admission ticket in order to buy the yacht mixer. And so again, with that, there'll be plenty of sessions, time to network, plenty of times to meet great people. I can tell you that all of my friends, they've all been helping me actually corral this amazing lineup of speakers. So if you see, how did I get how did Eric get General Dynamics? How did I get SAIC? How did I get MITRE? How do I get IBM? How did I get these folks? Because my friends, who are all very successful, high up people, they pulled together and we came together to grab these people and ask them to come down and make them available to all of you out there. So I did want to say that. I did want to give everybody that information. Again, everything is here on our website, gcgsummit.com. You can visit. It's on the screen. And you can look at the lodging. It's at the Fontainebleau, tickets. And so we're expecting an amazing turnout. And we're looking forward to meeting all of you guys in person. I can't wait. We had a lot of great time last year. And I expect to have an even better time this year and be able to help people win contracts. In fact, we have several people that have told me that they've already won contracts from last year's event. And that was, within a few months. So again, every conference, every event is what you make it. And we're looking forward to being able to host you in my beautiful city of Miami with all of my friends and my closest connections. And so even some of the people that we mentioned here before, like the Lori Sales, right? Lori Sales Company does north of $10 million a year in business. So even people that are doing simple things like the invocation, they're still heavy hitters in their own right. So look, I'm definitely aiming for to be the best conference in federal contracting space, period, hands down, outside of ones that are hosted by the government, right? So, and we anticipate being able to attract even bigger people between now and the end of the month. Let me go. Oh, I forgot something. So right now, here, let me show you the most important thing. You guys almost let me forget it. The actual agencies. All right, so right now, Health and Human Services, NASA, Defense Nuclear Facility Safety Board, NRC, Department of State, Veterans Administration, Armed Air Force Reserve Command, Air Force Base, FAA, National Guard, Department of Commerce, GSA, Regions 5, 6, Corps of Engineers, DCAA, and we're still holding on NAVSEA and NAVFAC. We're still waiting on those two. They haven't confirmed yet. And then Collins Aerospace, Boeing, Clark, SAIC, University of Florida. So if you're wondering about some of the agencies that you can meet there's the list of that as well. So this is it. I'm open to questions. Drop your questions in a link, but if you're watching the replay on this, essentially look forward to it. If you are already a student, if you're one of our students, if you have about any of our programs, Academy 1, 2, or 3.0, there is a discount code. We're sending out emails for students who are already taking some of our coursework as well. So, all right, questions. I'm going to open up for questions for the people that are on the live session with me. What's up, Mari? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Hector. All right, you're in the fuel business. So in the fuel space, Hector, for me, I would imagine that, right? So again, everyone has to do their homework. But when I'm looking at this list, right, I would say go back through this list and see, right? Or you guys can go here. Let me share this with you. So Hector, I would go back through and see, because I would bet that, Hector, I know who you want to meet. All right, so General Dynamics, we're on the submarine panel. This group right here, right? Because why? They're talking about the submarines. Submarines, General Dynamics, all these people are supplying to the actual submarine programs. So Marine Machinery Association, they're the ones providing the labor to help do the subs. Beast Code, they're the ones providing software for some of the subs. Obviously, General Dynamics has the contract to build out all the subs. So I would imagine that this group of people here you would talk to about your fuel. So, all right. Volunteer opportunities for students. Yes, I'm glad you asked that question here. Andy at govcongiants.com. You can send an email there. Sorry, I forgot the C, the M. So if you want to talk about volunteering here, send an email right there, India, INDYA at govcongiants.com. She's in charge of all the volunteers. So there you go, her. Sean says, who will be talking about AI? On AI, we have all right. So here, I'll pull it up from the actual agenda. All right. So Sean, on AI, here we go. All right. So we have Patrice Arnold, Cybersecurity Senior Advisor, Department of State. Sean Kingsbury, Vice President, Cybersecurity, SAIC. All right. Again, you don't get any bigger than SAIC. All right. If he was the Vice President of Vice Service Americas Unisys, again, big companies. We have Tracy Bannon, Senior Principal Software Architect and Engineer at MITRE. MITRE is another $2 billion company. And then we have Vu Nugent, who's the CISO for Department of Justice. So again, we've tried to balance it out with 2 private sector people and 2 industry folks as well to give you guys a balanced experience. All right. Questions? Anybody else? Nope. Cool. Well, listen, we will be doing more sessions where I get into all the different speakers. We will be doing more talking about the conference and as we get new information. So I did want to come on, share that, and for everybody out here, so you can have this information and so that you can make an intelligent decision about how to spend your money. So let's see. Will this conference have people there in science, chemistry, and regulatory affairs? So we do have people in science. I don't know about chemistry, and we do have people in regulatory affairs. Yes. So on the science side, yes, we definitely have people in science. In fact, um, part of what the reason why we have the University of Florida coming is because, and I'll show you this. So the reason why so here, Dr. Forte actually works for the Florida Institute of National Security at the University of Florida. And so as a researcher. And so part of what they're working on now, okay, is the science of actually looking at chip design. And so they're working with how do we start monitoring chips and how do we start to detect threats on chips. And so now, if you're talking about like science, like, I don't know, like microscope type stuff, that's a different thing. But his topic is on supply chain resiliency, but really what they're working on that I know of is actual chip design. So, all right. And then on the regulatory affairs side, that's Caitlin Rigo from DCMA. So Caitlin, she's the one that works with Defense Contract Audit Agency, who handles all regulatory affairs. So, all right. Anybody else? So, Sean Lee, when you say that you're a felon, you don't have to jump through any hoops. We have successful students that are felons who are winning contracts. The only thing that's preventing you is that you can't go on bases. So you're just not allowed to go on physically on a military base, but it doesn't preclude your company from winning contracts. So having a felony does not stop you from being able to win contracts. So, all right. All right, well, listen, I'm going to do another session Thursday, and we're going to talk more about this and what you can expect, and hopefully everybody will have more questions. And we're also going to do a live Q&A with folks out here answering more questions as well. So again, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful night.